my education was public school and not really, parent centric. So you're kind of being shopped around from grade to grade until you have good teachers, you have bad teachers, and you don't necessarily know what that's going to look like at the end of it. Having looked back on that, I think, was I given the tools to get all the knowledge I needed?
What David and I discovered as we homeschooled our children is that we were giving them the education that we never had.
We knew that we needed an education better than our own. We knew that there were other priorities that we had for our children and education that were different from our own. And so, it created a bit of a need, and homeschooling was the thing that kind of came along and provided a different vision for educating your kids.
We don't want them just to go through the motions to, okay, school year's over, we're done learning. We want them to be the kind of people, students, children who are always learning, who will, investigate things, look for answers.
We want them to be problem solvers. We want the classic model that even as Americans, our forefathers learned from. Their classic model, who were their champions. Whether it be, Socrates or Cicero, or who, they had the tools that they needed to answer questions that there was not answers for. So the whole idea of self-determination, the whole idea of how this country was founded was new in the world. Well, I want our children to be able to see problems and take it to the next step.
I don't want them to do just enough to get by, or just as much as their friends do, or just enough to be a little bit better than everybody else. I want them to do the very best they can because they're working for the Lord and because they're pursuing the truth, beauty, and goodness that He's put out there for them to find.
I hope for the future, of my kids, to provide them with the ability to examine ideas and to think with a foundation that goes further back than their own understanding and their own experience, and to eventually be able to look at an idea and to pull back any curtain, like in The Wizard of Oz, and be able to assess what's really behind that idea, what's really behind that curtain, and not just allow fear or some other less noble characteristic rule their decision making.
I want people to be encouraged that they can homeschool their kids, because there's no such thing as educators. There are only self-educators. So my job is to inspire my children to become educated, and that takes a lot of the burden off of me, thinking about it that way. Because I really like being an encourager and inspiring people, and they are rising to that. And so when I realize that it's not my job to educate, to give them information, it's my job to inspire them to be educated.